Tony, Mary, people have been
Shalom.
Shalom.
This
Shalom.
is Awake Israel Ministry.
Yes.
We will thank and praise Ahayah, bahashem, Yashayah, Barak.
Kadash.
We do always ask for your continued financial support of this work. We're going to go into some information in the lost books of the Bible tonight.
We're trying to do it a little at a time because
Be right back.
Yes, go ahead, Josh. I have asked our viewers to get this book, the lost book of the Bible, right? And what is it, Mary? And the forgotten books of Eden. It's really matches up with the 66 books of the Bible. And also, wherever the narrative leaves off, wherever the King James Bible or any Bible leaves off a story, especially in Genesis, the Lost Sea Scroll books are all in here. We have found even Peter and Paul, Brother Paul, has more epistles. Barnabas, I can keep going on and on.
Even Pilate had it.
Right, even Pilate had a testimony with Christ. It was awesome. So you need to get this book, folks. The lost books of the Bible and the forgotten, what is it, the forgotten, Tony? Or the forgotten books of Eden. So we're going to read a little. We're going to do a chapter or two, okay? And then.
You want to do a clip first, or you want to just read?
Yeah, go ahead, Josh. Yeah, let's do a clip. Go to watch. Oh, no, keep going, Josie. I don't want to be accused, I don't really like what he said the other day. He says this view is, just for our people, people who know, No. Look up. Maybe I took it wrong. Maybe he said it in a way where I took it wrong. Maybe. Well, the program is for his people.
Yeah.
It's for anybody else who has understanding.
So now we understand why the Sphinx is on the dollar bill.
No, I didn't mean that. His
the
people,
Great
his
Pyramid of
ministry.
Giza was not built.
That's how they are.
During the time.
No, they are like
before
they don't let anybody in with them.
And there's proof of that. There's water recession. It's proven that it made it through a day.
But they had their reasons. I believe
that's where the angel, when you go straight down to the bottom where rock is split.
Yeah, this is really good.
That's where the angel Atham.
So this is what we were sharing earlier last night about the origin of demons and fallen angels. A topic that is taught throughout the Bible, and as we read last night about in Ephesians, we don't wrestle solely against the flesh and the blood, but against principalities, chief ones, principalities, powers, and the rulers of the darkness of this current age.
That's
right. The
right.
rulers of the darkness of this current age really are angels, fallen angels.
That's right.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. He's the one that.
So when you're having trouble with somebody and you're trying to bring them truth,
they have
and they don't want to listen. It's a spirit. It's a spirit that's fighting
what
against
the Bible
you.
calls a demon.
That's right. It's a demon fighting against you. So don't get mad. You better be prayed up, because we are really headed for the last days now. We're in the last days. And if you think that's a joke, well, you go on.
The angels came down and slept with women. Now, as in the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. You notice in the book of Revelation, it talks about a star falling into the earth, or a star falling, and that's a prophecy. To prove to you near the end, during the apocalyptic time, angels are still falling.
That's what you mean.
Just like in the days of Noah.
But they're showing things.
Shooting stars.
Yeah,
but they hide it through your
blowing up. They're coming down.
with saying common elements.
The shooting stars.
They're not blowing up.
That comes.
No.
Right.
When
Yeah,
it's
but that's
really
what they're showing
speaking of fallen angels, and they're explaining it all with the news program, so that we can't we as normal citizens of this world don't understand that these are spiritual phenomena. If you understood that it was a spiritual phenomenon, you would probably believe in a God. So they use science and their programming box to actually distract you from,
so they are coming down like
from
that, Josh.
the fact that you're living in prophetic times.
Yeah.
Like that Superman movie, right?
Read on.
Verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days.
There were giants in the earth in those days.
And also after that.
And also after that, to show you that even after the flood, that there were giants. Now, the reason why it's paraphrased like this is because we're reading the book of Genesis, which is one of the books of Moses. Moses alone had information of the book of Yashayah, also that was laid down to his fathers from Jacob on down. He also was shown the beginning of times and the end at the mount, at Mount Sinai. So these things are recorded. So he says there were giants in the land in those days, and after that.
After that.
Because we all know that Moses went up against some of the Nephilim on the way to the land of Canaan. So another thing we understand, as the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be, is that things fall, angels' presence are having an authority over man. And also there's Nephilim in every society.
Looks like Arnold.
On a high level to fight against God's people. So these are they that are at what you would call the top of the pyramid. These are they who are controlling the world. We wrestle not with flesh and blood. That's what Christ said. Now, when we yield our spirit, and I'm going to go into that, when we yield our spirit to them, that's the only time they have power over us. Finish reading.
And also after that.
And also after that, that means after the flood. Read.
When the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown.
They came men of renown. Read.
Verse 5. And the Most High saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
So now the Most High is looking down on mankind and seeing that they are operating only to do evil. They're going away from the commandments of the Most High. And this influence is actually seeping into his elect, to the children of Seth. So he's looking at this evil. He's understanding that now Satan have a program that will eventually eradicate the woman's seed. That's the fight against God's people before the flood. Read.
Verse 6. And it repented the Most High that he had made man on the earth.
And we was such a farce. We were doing such evil during that time that it repented the Most High that he created man from the beginning. So you can imagine what we were doing back then before the flood. Now, usually this time is recorded in history under what you would call
I don't know about
Greek mythology.
It's gonna get.
This is how they hide it through saying that it's a myth. When you see those old pictures like Dungeons and Dragons and Conan the Barbarian and all those barbaric type of people riding dragons and fighting and all that, all the things that we know didn't happen after the flood.
Wow.
That's where they get that those understandings, that history from. We're going to prove that. That all that history, that dark history, right? when people were operating all out,
be here, right?
was before the flood. Read.
Verse 6. And it repented the Most High that he had made man on the earth.
Go ahead.
And it grieved him at his heart. And the Most High said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth.
So now the Most High is saying, you know what? I'm going to destroy them.
They could have been.
I'm going to destroy them from off the face of the earth.
Face of the earth.
Read.
Flat earth.
Both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air. For it repenteth me that I have made them.
So what did the Most High destroy? He said he's going to destroy the fowl of the air, everything. because it repented. Now you have to realize, well, if mankind have sinned against the Most High, why is he destroying animals? They didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, but the Nephilim and those that were following the Nephilim started cross-splicing and damaging and destroying and sinning against the Most High's creatures. Bestiality, all that started when you look at the myth of Pan, part animals, part people, all those things. They were doing all types of crazy splicing before the time of the flood. So the Most High, why are you thinking the law? The Most High wrote certain things in the law when we went into the land of Canaan. On our way to the land of Canaan, he gave Moses things that you wouldn't think twice about. Why did he put in the law that you're not supposed to deal with a beast? These are the things that was happening before the flood. He gave us a law written so that we couldn't repeat the things that made us fall before the flood.
Wow.
Dealing with your sister, dealing with your mother, dealing with your father, dealing with another man's wife, and all those things, which is according to commandments, against the commandments, were being done before the flood.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Read.
Verse 8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord.
Yeah.
These are the generations of Noah.
So now it goes to the generations of Noah, and we all know the story. Noah went to build the ark. While he was building, he was prophesying, and yet few listened. Let me tell you, brothers and sisters, there's not too many of our people like you that are here about, 6 o'clock Eastern your time, or 3 o'clock on the West Coast, wherever you might be right now. There's not too many people at 6 o'clock Eastern sitting down with their Bibles open, looking at what's going on in end times and trying to follow the Most High like you are. That's very rare. So imagine nobody hardly followed Noah. All right. Finish reading.
Wow.
Verse 9.
That's true.
These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just and perfect, Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with the Most High.
And he walked with the Most High, which means he was keeping the commandments. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Go ahead.
Verse 11. The earth also was corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence.
It filled with what?
And the earth was filled with violence.
We're going to show you how this violence was taught. Okay, and violence is from the devil. Violence is from Satan. Read.
Verse 12. And the Most High looked upon the earth. Behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And the Most High said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth.
I will destroy them with the earth. So the earth was punished too. At this time, there was only one landmass. The landmass was on one side, and the water or the seas were on the other side, as we see in Genesis, the 1st chapter, during our creation lesson. So what happens? Water started coming through the earth, breaking up the earth, making islands, making different parts. The whole earth was being destroyed. And that's where you get some of the ruins, the ancient ruins underground of the city Atlantis.
Wow. All right.
Okay, that's where you get the ancient city that they find under the Atlantic, called Atlantis. That was the city of the giants.
Wow.
Wow.
Now,
That's awesome.
let's see what was going on before the flood. Let's go into the book of Enoch. And I want to read in the book of Enoch what was taught. The agreement that was made, what was taught.
Where are they right now? Any good?
And for those who might
And he's going into email.
question
No,
whether or not Enoch is canonical or righteous learning. Okay, for those who might question, don't think a man was as righteous as Enoch and didn't have record. Okay, he was the righteous before the flood. Thing about Enoch, hardly when it comes to serious detail, in-depth detail within the Bible itself. Why? Because the Roman Catholic Church was over the canonization, and they were hiding the fallen angels.
That's right.
Their leaders.
And they took it out.
And the children of the fallen angels, their so-called saints and statues they're worshiping, are the children of Nephilim, or the children of the fallen angels. So they were hiding Enoch, because if they tell you about Enoch, then they must now start bringing forth information of what the Most High used Enoch for, and what's going on with those spirits that were loose in the earth during the time of Enoch. Okay? They don't want to explain those things, but for those who have questioned Enoch, if you read Hebrews 11:5, it says, by faith Enoch was translated. That means he did not see death, that he should not see death, and was not found.
Never found him.
So we're back.
All right.
That was very good information
It was.
that we just received
It is.
through the understanding of what was happening here on earth prior to the flood of Noah. That is where all our modern, what we would call modern technology, originated from. After the fallen angels came and slept with the women on earth, and they had sons, or Nephilim. And the Nephilim, or the giants, were the instructors of mankind in wickedness from their fathers, the fallen angels. Okay?
So, in other words, Josh, these giants and the dragons, are they in the earth? They're chained, right? Aren't they chained?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And also the fallen angels are chained, right? For judgment. You know, I just got that today when I read that in Revelation, that the fallen angels, the Most High said, for the day of judgment. So does that mean when the world's going to be judged, or the government's going to let them loose on the earth, and that's going to be our judgment too?
Oh,
what do you think?
They're being held for judgment, the final judgment.
The final judgment. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I got that. Okay. Okay. Chapter 8 in the book of Adam and Eve, the lost books of the Bible. The bright nature of man is taken away. Then Adam wept and said, O Most High, when we dwelt in the garden and our hearts were lifted up, we saw the angels that sang praises in heaven. But now we do not see as we were used to do. Nay, when we entered the cave, all creation became hidden from us. So now Adam and Eve are in a cave called the Cave of Treasures. Then Ahayah, the Most High, said unto Adam, when thou wast under subjection to me, thou hast a bright nature within thee, and for that reason couldst thou see things afar off. But after thy transgression, thy bright nature was withdrawn from thee. and it was not left to thee to see things afar off. In other words, when Adam and Eve were here, they were so righteous and holy before the Most High, they could see angels singing and praising Him. But only near at hand, after the stability of the flesh, for it is brutish.
Mm-hmm.
When Adam and Eve had heard these words from the Most High, they wept. They went their way, praising and worshiping Him with a sorrowful heart.
Mm-hmm.
And Ahayah ceased to commune with them. 11. Water from the tree of life, Adam and Eve near drowning. Then Adam and Eve came out of the cave of treasures and drew near to the garden gate. And there they stood to look at it and wept for having come away from it. And Adam and Eve went from before the gate of the garden to the southern side of it and found there the water that watered the garden, from the root of the tree of life, and that parted itself from thence into 4 rivers over the earth. You know what rivers they are, right, Josh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want to name them? Okay.
The original 4 rivers were the Euphrates, Tigris.
I really forgot. We should have the Bible. Okay.
Pishon and Gion.
Yeah. Say it again, Tony.
Pishon and Gion.
Right. Good. Parted itself from thence into 4 rivers over the earth. Then they came and drew near to that water and looked at it and saw that it was the water that came from under the root of the tree of life in the garden. And Adam wept. And Adam wept and wailed and smote upon his breast for being severed from the garden, and said to Eve, why hast thou brought upon me, upon thyself, and upon our seed so many of these plagues and punishments? And Eve said unto him, what is it that thou hast seen, to weep and to speak to me in this wise? And he said to Eve, seest thou not this water that was with us in the garden, that watered the trees of the garden and flowed out thence? And we, when we were in the garden, did not care about it. But since we came to this strange land, we love it and turn to it to use for our body. But when Eve heard these words from him, she wept. And from the soreness of their weeping, they fell into that water and would have put an end to themselves in it, so as never again to return and behold the creation. For when they looked upon the work of creation, they felt they must put an end to themselves. Isn't this awesome? So stay tuned. We're going to keep reading this. We're going to read 10 tomorrow and 11 and maybe even 12. I don't want to read too much. I want to get you a hold of that. Please get this book. If you're going to follow along with us, we're going to break it down more maybe tomorrow night, but Monday and Tuesday for sure, we're going to break it down. Okay, Josh. Good luck.
Okay, so now we're going to share another video.
There are 4 main reasons why the Christian church is in trouble. 4 major reasons. And if we have time tonight, we're really doing just a special word to you today.
Glasses. So
stay tuned with us.
To your doorstep. At Glasses
and keep praying for us. We're starting to grow.
Thousands of styles.
I believe that you have heard
today how they
our cry for everyone to pray for us, that our ministry grows, into a building or a place, and we have that place.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and it's going to. So just keep praying for us. Please, we have over 1,000 subscribers. Please send donations to our ministry. We're not asking for much a month. We've said it before. Send $3, $5, whatever you can send. Thank you.
So now we're going to share a video concerning the understanding of angels as good and evil angels. So what happened was, as we were saying last night, the earth the people on the earth at one time understood the relationship between the spiritual realm and what we call the earthly realm or the physical realm. So, since the earth has been conquered over and over again, and now it's in the hands of Satan's children, Satan has worked tirelessly in one realm of deception, the separation of the spiritual and the physical realm. That's why people teach evolution, because they don't want people to believe in a spiritual side of everything. Everything is physical. And yes, there is a physical world, but the physical realm is fake.
Come on. That's
I mean,
right.
and we don't live in it, but it's not real in the sense of what we believe is real.
It's an illusion. That's right. It's just what it is.
Okay, so
At
now,
night. So if something comes out of the darkness into light, you would know it because they lit everything up. But back then at night, everything was dark. If something came into your presence, you've seen it.
Wow.
So let's go back into the Old Testament and see if we can get some of these angels who walked amongst men. And I'm saying this is because so many times when we go into some of these lessons, brothers and some people out there, and they learn it from the Catholic Church, they don't even know it. They claim that it's impossible for angels to deal with people, not understanding the power of angels. Angels can deal with people. That's their sin. And if they sin that way, they fall to this terrestrial plane and get trapped within this plane.
Wow.
Now, it's deep that we have to teach this when every ancient civilization before us knew this. The Greeks knew it, the Persians knew it, the Israelites knew it, all of us knew it. The Ishmaelites knew it. All ancient cultures knew about the fallen angels in the worship of jinns or angels. It's in every society, but our modern society have dumbed us down and separated us from the spirit.
Like I love
because
genies.
why? If the majority of us knew that angels were real,
magic witchcraft,
then we would have a propensity to link into the God that made them and fear the Most High and come back to His law. So they had to make us believe that it's just a fairy tale or a myth. Right?
Once people hear that, we're grown.
Let's go into a few. Let's go to Genesis 16. Matter of fact, let's go with Adam. Let's start with Adam when he was walking in the cool of the day. When Adam was walking. Read.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 7. And the eyes of them both were opened.
Go ahead.
And they knew that they were naked.
Adam and Eve knew that they sinned against the Most High. Read.
And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
Go ahead.
And they heard the voice of the Lord power walking in the garden in the cool of the day.
Go ahead.
And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord power amongst the trees of the garden. And
so there was a presence of someone walking with Adam, speaking with Adam. You're going to find out all through the Old Testament that's called the angel of the Lord.
They'll get their first estate back. We all
read.
Verse 9. And the Lord power called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou?
Go ahead.
And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked?
So let's see the intercessor for mankind, beginning with Adam. Okay. Let's go to Moses. Exodus 3.
Exodus chapter 3, verse 1.
Go ahead.
Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of the Most High, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire.
So here's an angel of the Lord appearing to Moses. So that spirit always operated with the prophets from the beginning. Now, that angel of the Lord, matter of fact, I print this out for you to show you the name of that angel. that you would read there. 4397 in the Hebrew, which translate to what?
Mala'ak, from an unused root meaning to dispatch, as a deputy.
A deputy.
A messenger.
A what?
A messenger.
A messenger.
Specifically of the Most High.
Specifically of the Most High. That is?
That is, an angel. Also a prophet, priest, or teacher. Ambassador.
An ambassador.
Angel. King. Messenger.
Why? Because the Most High don't need to leave the throne. He sent the angel of the Lord. He sent Christ in the Old Testament to intercede for him.
Mm-hmm.
See that? That's Hebrew 4397. So it started off with Adam all the way through the prophets. All right, so it's important for you to know this Hebrew because it gives you more detail. Christ have always been called the mediator or the intercessor for man. All right, you got it.
This is Exodus chapter 23, verse 20 through
You see,
21.
Tony?
Go ahead.
Yep.
Behold, I send an angel before thee
I send an angel before thee.
to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared.
Go ahead.
Beware of him and obey his voice.
And obey his voice.
Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions. For my name is in him.
My name is in him, talking about Christ.
Mm-hmm.
See that? So Christ from the beginning even led us out of Egypt. That was Christ. And all through the Old Testament, he's called the angel of the Lord. So before he came as man, before he came to the earth as a sacrificer, he was a son of the Most High, operating as an angel of the Lord to intercede between the Most High and the prophets and mankind. See that? Anything else there?
So,
All right. Now, give you some more examples of angel intervention. Let's get Abraham real quick. Let's go to Genesis, the 22nd chapter.
this is Genesis chapter 22, verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that the Most High did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now thy son, thy only son, Isaac.
Matter of fact, let's get before that. Let's get when the Most High sent angels to him real quick. One moment. Let me get that.
18.
Yeah, let's get 18. Let's get the 18th chapter.
Sir.
That's the one I want. Let's get it.
Genesis chapter 18, verse 1.
Read.
And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre.
And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre. Listen clearly.
And he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground and said, My Lord, if I now have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree.
Now that shows you that angels have the images just like a man. Head, 2 arms. The Bible describes them as what? 3 men.
Mm-hmm.
So they appeared as people. And he told them to rest their feet. To show you there are angels that rest. Read.
This is verse 5.
Awesome.
And I will fetch a morsel of bread and comfort ye your hearts.
To prove to you the angels also eat.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, when we came out of Egypt, the children of Israel, the Most High had it rain manna, which is angels' food.
Wow.
So the angels can consume food.
Angels food can.
Okay? They just have a different type of body than us. It's not a corruptible body, so there's no waste with it. It's not corruptible. Read.
And I will fetch a morsel of bread and comfort ye your hearts. After that ye shall pass on.
Go ahead.
For therefore are ye come to your servant? And they said, So do as thou hast said. And Abraham hasted into the tent unto Sarah and said, Make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it and make cakes upon the hearth. And Abraham ran unto the herd and fetched a calf tender and good, and gave it unto a young man. And he hasted to dress it. And he took butter and milk and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. And they said unto him, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, Behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of woman. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I am waxed old, I shall have pleasure, my Lord being old also. And the Lord said unto Abraham, Where did Sarah laugh, or wherefore did Sarah laugh? Saying, Shall I of a surety bear a child which am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed I will return unto thee, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laugh not, for she was afraid. And he said, Nay, but thou didst laugh. And the men rose up from thence and looked toward Sodom. And Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do, seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him? For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. And the Lord said, Because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it.
Now we're going to go into Sodom and Gomorrah a little later in this lesson, but I wanted to show you that angels interact with people just like everyone else. That's what I wanted to show you here. Okay. Now, I know when some think of angels, you think about all that power they come with to destroy and all those things, but the majority of time, they come in a total meek and humble spirit and operate amongst mankind. Okay, which is so separated from this, it's hard for the majority of us to understand. We're taught, I don't know, maybe it's Hollywood and what they've taught us in our society. We're so disconnected. As a matter of fact, we don't pray, we don't connect. A lot of us don't even look up anymore. So we're disconnected from the spirit. But on the other hand, the dark forces on the dark side, they do everything they can to have fallen angels and demons come into their presence all the time. That's who's directing them. Let's get Ephesians on that real quick.
Wow.
To show you there's a battle between angels.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The angels that follow the Most High.
That's right.
And
there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels.
And I know the Christian
against the
church
dragon.
would say, well, that's impossible. That didn't happen in Genesis 6.
The dragon.
Those were the children of Seth. Well, if you understand that, or you believe that, you have no conceptual understanding on judgment. And the gods that have been worshipped throughout all society. Don't forget, Lucifer promised that he would fall, and him and his angels, and they will be worshipped as gods in this earth. And there's landmarks all over the earth that Satan was worshipped in every society.
To religion.
And he's being worshipped. Even Stonehenge.
You too, Christians, you worship Satan. So is Buddha, so is Islam.
There's temples to Zeus
all
religions throughout Europe.
In some way or some form.
But yet you're still confused.
But you have a chance to come out and know the truth.
Battle between angels. Because the Catholic Church has lied to you to make you believe those are just people being bad in Genesis. But we're going to get back to those angels who left Abraham, total men, and then went into Sodom, because that links in to today.
Latest.
To show you how the angels watch everything first.
You know what?
They behold
when it gets windy, it's
all the evil first before the judgment.
I swore the other day, I didn't mean to about the wind, and I repented. I forgot it was the angel.
And Sodom and Gomorrah thought they was going to get away. They were doing all these things, no judgment.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get there in a moment. Let's read in Ephesians what we wrestle with.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12.
Read.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood,
We wrestle not against flesh and blood,
but against principalities,
principalities,
and
It's
against
not that trouble with people.
powers,
It's that
and
spirit
against the
there.
rulers
and
of
when you look at those powers, that links to the word gods. G-O-D-S. Read.
and against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
So the Illuminati, who you call the Illuminati today, they're being ruled by gods. All civilizations outside of the children of Israel have always been ruled by gods. And of course, we fell off as a people once we started sinning the children of Israel. That's why we in captivity today, and all nations are ruling over us. We fell and began to worship the Canaanite god Yahweh, which also was connected to fallen angels. I'm going to go to that a little later, too. Go ahead.
The rest of verse 12. And against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Against spiritual wickedness in high places. So there's a war of angels, the righteous angels against the fallen angels, and the spirits that proceeded from the fallen angels.
For we are not wrestling against
Okay.
people. See, our,
So that's what we're
trouble's not
wrestling
with
against.
people, Josh.
Let's get the angels that sin in Jude before I go in the Old Testament and get some more angels real quick.
This is Jude 1 and 6.
Read.
And the angels which kept not their first estate,
And the angels which kept not their first estate,
The fallen
but
angels.
left their own habitation,
to show you
down.
angels who were watchers or living or inhabiting space,
The ones that
what we
came down
call
and had sex
space,
with
which is really heaven.
the women of men.
Read.
but left their own habitation.
They left their own dwelling
Right.
place.
He have
daughters
reserved
of
in
men.
everlasting chains under
Oh,
darkness
fathers.
unto the judgment of the great day.
So
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow. So you could pick this up, viewers, and we'll come back on. And I've got a pretty good idea of what I want to say. It's just going to take me a minute. I'll let Josh. I know Josh wants to speak.
that was good for tonight.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. There's four
We got
major
it.
reasons
Mhm.
why the Christian church is in trouble. I think I'm going to bring a lesson on it, maybe next Friday or Thursday. But you know, just we want to say again, I know that you're praying for us. We have asked you to, and our ministry is starting to grow right in our neighborhood. Pray for us for tomorrow, that pagan holiday, which I can't stand, and I want nothing to do with it. And I hope you feel the same way and you know the truth.
Mhm.
And with
So
all
be
that, okay, go ahead, Josh. Okay, you got something to say, brother?
No, I'm good. Shalom until our next time we'll be on.
Shalom.